This is Cognitive 8.3.
Hello, my name is Maureen Lunas, and today I'm going to share with you my hobby, which also happens to be the fastest growing hobby in the United States. My hobby is genealogy, the study of
Family history.
family history. This hobby is popular not only in the United States but around the world as people search for their roots. One of the first things that you need to do if you are interested in finding out about your family is to gather as much family history as you can from
Living family members.
living members of your family. Search out your relatives and find out what they know. It's helpful to tape record or videotape interviews if you have the opportunity, but letters
Work just as well.
work just as well. An initial form letting your relatives know that you are searching out your family history and gathering information from them often is a great way to crack open the door and
Let them have a heads up.
let them know what you're up to. From those family histories, you will be able to get some leads to start
Your search.
your detective work. There are many places in the United States that you can go for additional resources after you have
Asked family members.
those basic leads from your family. One of the first things you need to do is look at a map and find out not only where the city is that perhaps your ancestor was born, but
Where in that state the city sits in.
where that city is located within the state. You must find out the county name. Now, there's some guides that will
Help you with this.
help you with this. One of the best books that is the Bible of most genealogists is called the Handy Book. And this is produced and published by Everton Publishers in Utah. The Handy Book lets you know what county records are available, whether it's birth,
Marriage or deaths.
marriage or death, vital statistics. It lets you know whether a county name has changed. Perhaps your ancestor was born in Greene County in 1880, but in 1879, that county originally was Orange County. You would need to know about that change if you were trying to
Trace that ancestor's family history.
trace that ancestor's parents. They would not be found under Greene County,
But in Orange County.
but Orange County. Beyond maps and the Handy Book, there are other books that are very important, basic
Genealogy books.
tools for the beginning genealogist. You would need the Red Book, which is by Ancestry Publishers, or a book called The Source. They also have basic maps and
Statistics.
statistics. They tell you where the county seats are located and how you can contact them, including phone numbers, for additional information on to how to
Gather more information.
proceed with your search. Now, we go beyond in government information to states where great archives have compilations of materials available to you, many of them
For no cost.
at no charge. You also have the federal government national archives, which can help you. Both state sources and federal sources have censuses on the states, and those censuses list
A great amount of your ancestors.
most of your ancestors. You're very easily guided to those resources through indexes and a numbering system and a Soundex code, which gives each letter a sound tabulation to make it easy for you to research
Your family name.
your family name. In addition, the federal sources have military and pension records. If you go back to the county seat, you can also, if you can't find your ancestor on the censuses, you can look over
Tax and land records.
tax rolls and land records. And oftentimes there might be other records for welfare for the poor, or passenger
Manifestos.
lists that are available to you. Outside of government resources, there are many historical societies, both at the state
And county level.
level and county level. And also there are larger historical societies that are regional, such as the New England Genealogical and Historical Society. Or you might want to go and research in Virginia at the National Genealogical Society. They give you a great deal, number of pointers, and they also, most of these historical societies publish quarterly newsletters which give you new hints, offer query columns where you
Can post about looking for family members.
can put in ads to help find other relatives. Of course, with the advent of technology, we have a lot
Databases and tools online.
more tools and resources at our fingertips. With computers, we now have CD-ROM, and on that CD-ROM, there are phone number listings by family name, so you might be able to trace your family through if you have the same
Surname.
surname in a particular town. You might be able to get leads that way. Also, there are many vital statistics that have been recorded on CD-ROM. Or perhaps you want to get on the internet or use an online service in a chat group where you can make ties with other
People searching for your lines and theirs.
people that are searching your line. And I found that with my hobby, I've met many wonderful people across this country and outside this country who've
Helped me a lot.
been very helpful. And when you find someone with the last surname that you share, it's really
Interesting because immediately your family.
exciting and your instant family. Of course, everyone has that one or two skeletons in the closet. I personally find it more interesting and exciting, and many times informative of the history of a particular country. When I do research and do
Find one or two skeletons.
find a skeleton. For example, I have a third great grandfather, and there had been a rumor in our family that he had died in jail. My husband and I traveled to Canada. We went to Brockville, Ontario, and we were able to trace from a newspaper article and found that my grandfather indeed had
Gone to jail.
been put in jail by my grandmother.
By my grandmother.
And she had put him in jail because he was a bigamist. She had 12 children at the time, with the youngest being 1 year old. However, this brave lady locked him up because he had
Cheated on her.
strayed from their household. Now, when you put that in historical context, it becomes more interesting when you know that at that particular time, in the 1860s in Canada, that divorce was not
An option.
available to people. And so people took options that
today we may not use.
We might not take today. As I traced along, I guessed that my grandfather was put into a nearby prison, and the next town over was Kingston, Ontario. And in Kingston, at the Federal Penitentiary, across the street was
an archive.
So my husband and I went over there, had a very nice tour of the archive, and went through
the microfilm.
From the newspaper article, we were able to trace that indeed
my grandfather was in that prison.
My grandfather had been a prisoner there. As we went through the prison records, it was interesting because at that period of time in that culture, part of the punishment for the prisoner was
a code of silence.
A code of silence. Anytime a prisoner broke that silence,
their words were recorded.
So after 130 years, I had my great-great-grandfather's words. And what I came to find out was that he was very ill when he went into prison, and he
died later.
Died 3 months later of tuberculosis.
3 months later of tuberculosis.
And his words were words of complaint about cold and
not feeling well.
Feeling ill. So that was
an interesting family fact.
Kind of an interesting situation. Many people might want to hide that fact, but for me, it really made it
real for me.
It made me understand some of the trials that my grandmother went through, and also some of the trials that
my grandfather went through.